So when it comes to fertilizer, there can be a lot of confusion and a lot of things to learn whenever you're looking at a bag. In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to be able to put down a successful fertilizer application. So let's get out of the weeds. So thank you guys for joining me for yet another video. If you guys like these videos, please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you're not already. So here I am, I'm actually in Ohio visiting my parents, and they have a little lot which you can see behind me at their Italian restaurant. And so I actually seeded this lot here about a year ago. Thought this would be a good spot to do a fertilizer video and kind of walk you guys through step by step how to know what to buy when you're looking for fertilizer, how to actually put it down, and how often you should put it down. By regularly fertilizing your lawn, you will help your grass to grow thicker, darker, and be able to withstand anything that comes against it. The main nutrients that I want to talk about today that fertilizer provides is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and iron. Beginning with nitrogen. Nitrogen helps your lawn to grow thicker and to grow darker green. Phosphorus helps care for your grass's root system. And potassium helps with the overall health of your lawn and will also help your lawn prevent disease. And lastly, iron is used to give your grass an even darker green color. Out of all of those nutrients, nitrogen is going to be the primary one that is going to be in most of your fertilizers, and it's going to be what you put down most often. This is because your grass uses up the nitrogen much quicker than it does the other nutrients, so they don't need to be replenished with as much. There are many different fertilizers with many different uses, but today I want to talk about 3 typical fertilizers you will see. On the left we have just a traditional synthetic fertilizer, which is just labeled turf food. In the middle we have starter fertilizer, and then on the right we have an organic fertilizer. Now when looking at the bags, you can see 2803, and this one you see 152310, and on this one you see 430. So what the numbers on the bag represent is the first number represents the percentage of nitrogen, the second number represents the percentage of phosphorus, and the last number represents the percentage of potassium in that bag. So for example, if we take a look here at this one, the 2803, 28% of this entire bag is made up of nitrogen, 0% is phosphorus, and 3% is potassium. So if you look here, you can even see, even advertises phosphorus free, which you can see by the 0 here. And so those are just percentages. So the reason those percentages are important and the numbers are all different on different bags is because depending on the rate at which you put them down and the size of bag is going to be dependent on how much nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium your grass is actually getting. So then you can see here on the starter fertilizer that the second number is 23, and so it is 23% phosphorus. And so if you look, as I mentioned earlier, I said that phosphorus helps with your grass's root system. And so you look here, it's labeled starter fertilizer, and so it's to help your grass establish. And so that's why it's really high in phosphorus, because it's going to help the new grass seed to get a good root system established early. And so when I looked at the front of the bag, it didn't mention anything about iron. So you have to usually go onto the back and see, and you'll see here that there's 1% iron in this bag. The way I view iron is kind of like the cherry on top of a sundae. It doesn't have to be there, but it does add a little bit of specialness to it. And that's kind of what it does for your lawn. It helps give your lawn a little bit of a darker green color. So now let's forget about the starter fertilizer for a minute and just compare synthetic fertilizer versus organic fertilizer. Whenever you're just getting into lawn care, I highly recommend starting with an organic fertilizer, which you see here on the right. The reason this is because organic fertilizers are a lot more user-friendly whenever you're just getting started. And also the other thing with organic fertilizers is you don't have to worry about burning out the lawn. And now I don't want you to think that it's easy to burn out your lawn with fertilizer, because it's definitely not easy to do. but it is a lot more possible with the synthetic fertilizer. So the other reason I like beginners starting with an organic fertilizer is just because it's a lot more fun to put down. And so to show you that here, you can see that this 32-pound bag of synthetic fertilizer covers 10,000 square feet. So to cover a 10,000 square foot lawn, you're going to be putting down 3.2 pounds for every 1,000 square foot. And so if you look here on the organic one, that this big 36-pound bag only covers 2,500 square feet. So I would need 4 bags of the organic fertilizer just to cover what the synthetic fertilizer will cover in the 32-pound bag. So I would need 144 pounds of organic fertilizer just for that 32 pounds of synthetic. So if you do the math on that, for every 1,000 square foot of lawn, I have to put down 14.4 pounds of the organic fertilizer. And so what this equates to is whenever I'm putting a synthetic fertilizer on my lawn, whenever I'm pushing the spreader, it doesn't really feel like there's much coming out. So for a beginner, you can kind of feel like, I don't really know if I'm doing this right or if it's working. Whereas with an organic fertilizer, you can really build some confidence, because when you're pushing out that 14.4 pounds per 1,000 square feet on your lawn, man, it's just, there's fertilizer just flying everywhere. So it's a lot more fun to do. It can really help build your confidence. So whenever you go to the store, you will look and you will see so many different types of fertilizers, all advertising different things. And so the important thing to know is that the different fertilizers can just have different uses throughout the season. And so for us here with cool season grass, the growth chart, I'll put it on the screen here. Whenever the spring hits and temperatures start to rise, our grass really wants to start taking off and it'll grow really fast. And so whenever we're putting down our fertilizer applications, we're really trying to push the grass, to get the grass to grow stronger root system, really kind of let it grow on the top because it's actively growing. So we're really having to feed our lawn. And so whenever it starts to get into the summer and the temperatures really start to rise, our lawn gets under stress and it's not actively growing as much. So we get to the summer, we're not putting down as much nitrogen and the other nutrients because our grass is under stress, and we might put down a fertilizer application that is has a lot more potassium in it. That way, because the potassium is helping our lawn when it's under stress. And then whenever we get to the fall, temperatures start to cool down again and our grass starts taking off again. And so then that way we go and we start hammering it with nitrogen and everything again. And so that's kind of why you see the little bit of the differences in fertilizers. The main thing to pay attention to is that I recommend trying to stay away from weed and feed as much as possible. I don't want you to get into the habit of every time you put down a fertilizer application that it also has weed control in it as well. The reason this is because with what I want to teach here is I want you guys to learn to identify what weeds you're having problems with and target them directly. I don't want you to just buy something with weed and feed and just be throwing down herbicides on your lawn, just not really knowing if what's even in it is taking care of the weeds that you have. So that's kind of why I like a targeted approach to fertilizer and then a targeted approach to weed control. And so I will be doing videos on weed control kind of as they start popping up throughout our cool season, lawn season here. But definitely pay attention to that. Here is the lot that my parents have beside their pizza shop. This lot is right about 2,500 square feet. And so what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be putting down the starter fertilizer and the organic fertilizer both on here, just so you can kind of see the differences between a synthetic fertilizer and an organic fertilizer. So beginning with the starter fertilizer here, we can see from the front of the bag that this covers 5,000 square feet. The lot here that I'm going to be fertilizing is only 2,500 square feet. So that means I need exactly half of this bag to cover the entire lawn here. So this is just the cheapest spreader from Scott's. It's just their Turf Builder Edge Guard Mini. And so it just has a small little hopper on it, but I like to use this for my videos just to really show you guys how easy it can be to put down on some of these spreaders. And so if you look here, there's just a dial knob here, and you can see as you can turn it into different settings. And so for example, I'll show it as like a setting 4. So now when I pull this handle back here, it's going to open this slot inside. And so you can see And so you can see there, it just opens the slot just a little bit. So now, let's try it if we move it all the way up to a 15. So now we're up to a 15, and now when I pull the slot, look how wide open that is. Another reason I like these spreaders from Scott's is that any fertilizer that you buy is going to have the number for the spreader setting to use on your bag. So now we look at the back of the starter fertilizer and we find Scott's basic spreader. They have some of their other different spreaders, but you can look, the number is still the same. So 4.5 is what we want to set the spreader on. So now all I have to do is put in half of that bag in the spreader, set it to 4.5, and then I can just start walking it out onto the lawn, making sure that I put it evenly throughout the lawn. So this is what a typical synthetic fertilizer looks like. And so now let's take a look at the organic fertilizer. You can see that it covers 2,500 square feet. So I will need this entire bag to cover this lot here. So when looking at the back, you can see the Scott's Basic Edge Guard standard there. It wants a setting of a 12. I will use the setting 12, put this entire bag in the hopper, which it probably won't fit, so I'll have to kind of just do it multiple kind of passes through, just because this hopper is a little bit smaller. But I'm going to use this entire bag over the entire lawn on a setting 12. So this is what your typical organic fertilizer looks like. So you can see it's a much different look than what synthetic fertilizer. So then lastly, how often should you fertilize? In general, I would try to stay somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks between each fertilizer application. Another thing that you can do is also just follow the holidays throughout the year, just for an easy reminder of a fertilizer schedule. So beginning with Easter, put down your first application somewhere around Easter, and then you have Memorial Day, then July 4th, then we have Labor Day, Halloween, and then finish it off with Thanksgiving. And so I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Be sure to be on the lookout for more videos coming up. I plan on doing weekly videos kind of as we get kicked off in the season. And so if you guys ever have any questions, I set up an email for this channel. It's ootwlawn@gmail.com. So if you guys ever have any questions about fertilizer or anything, just kind of lawn care in general, feel free to email me. I'll be able to get it and get back with you guys. And so I'll see you guys next time when we get out of the weeds into a beautiful lawn.